This is the CheckDown. No fluff. No filters. Just football.
Yo. Welcome to another episode of the CheckDown. This is the Combine review, a little news, you know what I mean, a little everything. Obviously, man, some guys got traded today. And then over the weekend, man, we had some guys lighted up. I think you have some risers, you got some fallers. We're going to talk about it briefly a little bit today, man. What's good, man? What's good, Dre? What's good, sir?
What's good? What's good, man?
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear you,
man.
bro.
All right.
What's good
Yeah,
with you,
man.
sir? How you doing?
I ain't shit, man. You know, trying to make something shake, dog.
Yeah, man. So, uh, obviously, David Montgomery is a big target that moved today. Traded for a fifth round pick to the Texans, a team with obviously a band aid at running back, with Nick Chubb, but obviously no real telling signs of what it will become of Joe Mixon, who obviously missed the 2025 season, possibly according to the owner GM. Possibly could miss the 2026 season. So obviously able to go get David Montgomery to put as the number one. How we feeling about that move, man? Like, oh, and they traded one of their offensive linemen too. Um,
Well, I'll
so
say this. I think Mixon, it's been like kind of rumored that Mixon might get released. And it's just due to like what you said, he may miss this season. And it's just like, how long are we gonna hold on for you to come back? I also think this trade is really good for the Texans. The Lions weren't gonna pay David Montgomery. And so for the Texans to go out and get, I think, a better bruiser running back than that they currently had. Because I think we could all be honest, Nick Chubb was a shadow of what he used to be, but that was kind of expected for a 30-year-old running back who's had significant leg injuries, knee injuries, to come and be his full self. So you get a guy who has less lower leg injuries, slightly younger, because I think David Montgomery is 29, might be 30 to start the season. I'm not quite sure. So maybe a year younger than Chubb, but you're able to get that guy who's going to be there. I also think them trading their right tackle lets me know they weren't going to be paying him next year because he still had a year under that. And this also shows me signs that they are going to be addressing offensive line, maybe with the first pick or their second pick in the draft. So that's what Houston told me, that they're trying to go younger. And I guess they saw from the combine or players that they probably already had on their board, in addition to their combine or senior day and or East West Triangle, whatever. That yo, we can probably target this player bottom of the first, somewhere in the second.
I don't know what's going on with the Texans, man. Um, they say that CJ is that guy, but these moves, I don't see. He's already been struggling since his rookie season. Well, after his rookie season, they traded away a top five left tackle. Um, Now they're getting rid of two of the guys that he played with last year. I think they had three new guys on the offensive line. My guess is they're going to try and go heavy O line in this draft. Um, I it's not like they in the 20s. I know that much because I know they made it to the divisional round. Um, and then with the mixing thing, uh, does anybody actually know what his injury is?
No, it's never been made clear.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know what they doing. I like the addition of David Montgomery. I don't know if he can be a feature back. But I mean, he's a name, but he was number two in Detroit, behind a very good offensive line. Okay, so I don't know if he's going to be RB1 or RB2 now against a bad offensive line. Uh, so again, I don't know what Houston is doing, or what their plan is, or it seemed like they're trying to shut their own window, but we'll see.
I mean, it feels like it's a possibility that they come into this season with probably David Montgomery as the one. Mark's at the two, and maybe somewhere late in the draft, you draft another running back to complement your room. I mean, because right now, like, this is my issue. You tell me that you don't trust the O line, you don't trust what they're doing for CJ Stroud. You feel like he's under fire a lot. And then in the back-to-back seasons, you trade your left and then now your right tackle. I'm not understanding how do you keep thinking addition by subtraction to a line that is already a subtraction to the team is going to make you better. I just don't get it. Like you seem to not be able to bring in any extra talent to help, and then you get rid of the talent that's already there because you don't want to pay them. But who are you paying?
I mean, I don't expect them to be heavy spenders in when the new league year start. What is it, Wednesday? Because they 10 million over the cap right now.
It's March 11.
Yeah.
That
So I I mean, like I said, they already over the cap 10 mil. That's not a lot, but regardless of what type of restructures they do, they're not going to have a lot of money, and you don't get cap relief when you sign free agents. You get cap relief when you re-sign your own guys. So, and I really don't even know who's going to be available to make any type of significant improvement to that offensive line. So I don't know what's going on with Houston, but I love me a good call, right?
Yeah, and just to add to it, I think this is the worst free agency to need offensive linemen because I'm looking at the landscape of teams, and there are way too many teams that need some of the same position groups. And there's not enough guys on the market. And then now you're looking at, okay, if I can at least get one, I can hit the draft. And guess what? There's going to be a competition with that as well because there's a lot of teams who are not going to be able to target players in free agency that are looking for the draft, that are looking for right tackles, interior offensive linemen, left tackle, centers. There's at least 5 to 6 teams right now I know need a new center.
So
So
this, oh, my fault.
no, go ahead, Dre.
What I was gonna say is about this Titus Howard thing. Um, I'm not a huge fan of PFF grades, but it's some kind of metric we can look at for guys, right? Pass block grade, he was 17th in all of the NFL. His run back block grade, he was bottom 10 in the NFL. If you're trying to improve your rushing attack and you are wanting to put a focus on that, you have to replace a guy who's not a great run blocker. I get it. It's not ideal when you have a quarterback, and I mean, you want to build up a line to protect that quarterback, but honestly, I think the Texans are probably better off just building on that run game and playing complementary football with that defense because CJ Stroud, what I've seen from him in the playoffs, to me, would have me very, very concerned if I was a Houston Texans fan going forward. So, I mean, I don't really have a problem with this move.
I
I
mean, I
really
have
don't.
to
I gotta agree with Dre though, because it's like if you see what the Browns paid him for a guy that's ranked. I mean, he's really good against in pass pro, but for a guy that's that bad in run protection, I don't want to be paying you $20 million for that. Like that, and that's what the Browns paid him. I think 3 for 63. I think that's. I mean, like I mean, the Browns are in more of a need of a guy like him than the Texans. So kudos to them for making the trade and paying him. But if I'm the Texans, man, I don't want to pay $20 million for a player like that personally. So I don't. I'm with Dre, man. I don't see the issue with the move. My only issue with the move is the cap they had to give up because in these two trades they're giving up a 4th, 5th, and a 7th. So that's just less room for you in the draft. For positions of need that you have. I mean, now you have 3 less picks for that. But I guess they got a wheel and deal in the draft and the free agency to try to fill those holes that they currently have.
Oh, and just
But
to
they
add,
struggle. They already go ahead, Pop. Go ahead, Pop.
no, just to add to the trade, they got like almost 24 million dead cap with that. So the Texans added to their dead cap hit for this season with that trade.
But okay, I could get
So
trading a guy away because you looking to change up whatever you're doing. But if you say you have a franchise quarterback and you got a guy that's top 17 in the league in pass protection, how do you trade that away? You're already not
Your
protecting the quarterback.
that's
your answer is you don't have a franchise quarterback.
well, ain't this the pot calling the kettle black?
But if he
But
was a franchise quarterback after the 3rd year, which he's in right now, they'd extended him already. They haven't extended him yet. So what does that tell you?
I think that they're looking to shift. I think D'Amico Ryans is a very smart coach that understands that he has an elite defense right now. And with the way that the NFL is shifting, we're shifting to more condensed formations, bigger formations, 13 personnel, 12 personnel. And you got to be able to run the football and be able to throw out of those bigger formations. Well, first you have to be able to run the football. And if you can't run the football, it's not going to work. Like that defense, you can't have a high powered, high flying offense with a defense like the Texans have. You can't. It's just not how you. That's not how you play complementary football. And I think they're realizing it. And honestly, I think that they're probably at a point where they're looking at it and saying, "Hey, if C.J. Stroud is our guy, cool. If he gets it together. But if not, we're starting to move in a different direction. So when we do bring another guy in here, maybe we have a better situation than we're bringing him in already into."
I think CJ is that guy. Um, I think this is more. I mean, they pacing themselves. They don't have to do anything right now. They can wait until next off season to pick up his 5th-year option. I mean, because if he has another mediocre year, he's going to get starting quarterback money. But if 2 mediocre seasons in a row, his price is definitely it's not going to elevate. I'm not going to say it's going to go down, but I just don't feel like they're in I don't feel like they're in a good situation. Period. I heard Dre talk about those pass block grades and the run block grades. My only pushback to that is like I'm not going to put it on the player. I'm gonna use my team for example. Colt McKivitz. 2 years ago, he was at the bottom of the league in both. This year, he was like top half in both. At some point in time, I get it. You want to draft a guy that's going to be the guy or whatever, but your coaching staff is going to have to develop. They're going to have to find a way to make sure that these players get better. I just don't see that anywhere on the Texans on the offensive side of the ball. Like it's like you're either good when you come in, or you're replaceable. I just don't see any development with anybody. Um, So I don't like the position that the Texans are in. I don't, and I feel like they're closing their own window. Not to say that they've really had one, but you know, they have won a division with like twice in the last 3 years. Uh, I don't know. Maybe they don't make the playoffs next year.
I wholeheartedly disagree with you. I think they're extending their window by making these moves. It doesn't look like it right now, but I think there's a shift in philosophy happening with the Houston Texans. And I think when we look back on it a few years from now, we'll see that it was the right move. Now, like I said, CJ Stroud could end up being a part of that. I,
I don't know. It feel
but
like the
if he's
same move they
not,
did.
he's not.
It feel like to me they doing the same moves over again, bro.
Right? They're trading water.
They just did this 2 years ago with Mixon. They traded whatever, got Mixon on the team. The following season they trade Tunsil. The O line gets worse. The running game gets worse, and then they go and do the same exact movements the following season. Don't seem like the philosophy changed to me, Dre. It seems like they just running in circles, and we just think the philosophy look like it changed. But they keep putting more garbage on the O line every season.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a combination of factors for the ineffectiveness of the Texans online. One, I think that they haven't really hit on a lot of the guys that they've drafted because they have drafted interior alignment tackles or whatever for the last few years. Not all of them have panned out though. Um, I think they've been trying to address the problem, but I kind of agree with Sir in the fact that I don't know if the coaching is there for the offensive line. Don't know. Because how are you struggling to develop these guys that's been with you 2 3 years and you're going back to the well in a draft or through trades? So I think it's a multitude of issues. That's the problem with the Texans. I will say this. Um, there is going to be a conversation next offseason if the Texans pick up CJ's fifth year. That's going to be a talking point, especially if they again fail in the playoffs this year.
Okay. In other news, today, cornerback Marshawn Lattimore was informed by the Commanders that he will be released before the new league year. The Commanders in 2024 traded a third, fourth, sixth for Marshawn Lattimore and I don't know. How does this trade? Obviously they're gonna get 18.5 million in cap space, but how does this trade look? 2 years later.
Listen, we fleeced. I knew we fleeced when the trade happened. Because there's no way in hell you telling me you're giving up a third, fourth, and sixth, or let's be honest, a cornerback who's underperformed the last 2 years. Yes, he did have a pedigree in the name, but he wasn't able to play a full season for us for quite some time, and he had been plagued with soft tissue injuries since he signed the contract that we gave him a few years before that. Um, you and the problem I have with not it's not really a problem on my end, but it's the Commanders is like you gave up 3 picks in a very quality draft group and in a draft where I was seeing players all the way up until the 6th round. Like, dang, how are you still here on the board? And these are players that could fill your very talent depleted team. But again, you made a big move, you took a big swing, and it became a 2 year rental essentially. And now you're releasing him because he's not worth the capital you gave up. To me, like I have always said, since the new ownership with the Commanders got there, we will see if things have changed based upon 2 to 3 off seasons that they have. And right now, it does not look like things have really changed. It's just new faces, but it's the same issues.
Yeah, Adam, I don't know, man. Adam Peters might be closing the door on himself, bro. Because if these move, I get it. You come in, you the new guy, you want to make a splash, you want to put your imprint on the team, so forth and so forth. But it's like these trades. Well, first of all, he keep pushing his narrative that we're going to build through the draft. But then 2 off seasons in a row, you trade away draft picks, for names, or what they haven't done. They got rid of draft picks last year for this season. But it's like I get it. You wanted to make a splash. I just don't feel like trading for Lattimore, giving up that type of collateral, is what a team that's in them. I mean, they picked second overall 3 years ago. So clearly you got a bad roster. You're giving away draft picks. I don't think bringing in Lattimore was the move. A splash is for a team that's trying to get over the hump. You're not even at the hump. You're trying to get off the floor. And that showed this year where, you took Jaden Daniels away for a few games and they look off. I don't know exactly what they're going to do in the draft. They got holes everywhere, man. This team looks like Swiss cheese. I know the Commanders fans get mad at me when I say this, but they got one of the worst rosters in the league. Outside of Jaden Daniels, they're pretty bad. And you just wasted all of those picks for a quality draft last year. Like Pop said, it was quality players going all the way into the 6th round. Like last year was one of those drafts where people were actually watching the 6th and 7th round. And I don't know, man. I just don't. The way that they're doing business, the way that they're going about things, I just don't see them getting off the floor no time soon. They following that New York Giants game plan. Top 10 pick every year.
Oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Hey man, you gotta clean off them trophies over there, man. You got all that dust in the air from them old trophies you over there toting. But um, the Commanders. I do not think that the Commanders fans should be very happy with their team at all right now. I think that they should be concerned, and I do think Pop was correct that the Commanders are going to commander basically. Like they're the same organization, just with a different head. They're making the same moves that they made before. They're not investing in the rosters. I mean, to what Certified said through the draft, but it's more than that. You just turned over your whole staff, and I wouldn't feel great about the staff that they brought in. Do you guys like the coaching staff the Commanders brought in? Anybody?
A lot of question marks. A lot of
I,
question marks.
I'm gonna be honest. I think they made a lot of panic moves with some of the hires that they made this offseason.
I I feel like Buddy hightailing it out of there. Did what's his name? The
Cliff.
OC.
Cliff,
Yeah,
Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Cliff Kingsbury. The
Mm-hmm.
last season was the season before last was the most complete season that he's had. I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with Jaden Daniels being on the roster because he had a reputation of imploding in the second half of the season. They stayed pretty consistent, and he hightailed it out of it. So I agree with Dre, man. Like the Commanders, they just not in a good spot, man. Roster wise, front office doesn't seem like they don't know their head from their tail. Coaches is running up out of there. Um, I they're gonna be on the floor again, man. They are, and I feel sorry for that fan base, man, because they were so hyped up. They felt like the team has so much promise, but is going to be under the barrel again. Uh, I, I just don't see. They don't even have the draft picks to even make the type of splash that they would need. So I don't know, man. Buckle in for a long one. That's all I can say.
You know
I
what it sounds
actually,
like to me, Smitty? Just real quick, it
actually,
sounds like we might have to do the Commanders rebuild here. So, we got anybody in the comments interested in hearing or seeing us do that rebuild? Comment, man. And any other rebuild, like we got some rebuilds on the page. We got another one coming out tomorrow. Y'all tune in and subscribe to the page. We got a lot of content on the way for you guys, and we appreciate it for everybody that subscribes.
I actually gotta disagree because I have a different mindset, right? My mindset is if you make a trade and you see it's not working out, whether than trying to, whether you're trying to make it work or not, if you realize you made a mistake, I mean, sometimes it is best just to cut bait and just admit you made a mistake and just move on. I think that's just what they did. Like they, like the year they traded for him, that's the year they made it to the NFC Championship game. They were having a good year that year, a singular year. They traded for him. It didn't work out. He wasn't really. He wasn't good in that NFC Championship game. He was getting burnt pretty good. They followed up with another mediocre year this past year, and it was just like instead of trying to extend them and try to make it look like the trade worked, they're just like screw it. Like the GM was like, this didn't work. I'm gonna lay on my sword and say it didn't work, and we're just gonna cut him. We'll get some cap space relief or whatnot. And that's what they did. I mean, I didn't agree with the trade when they made it. I didn't think he really contributed to that run. I think they would have got where they got to without it. But like I said, that's a mistake he made. At least he's admitting it and moving on from it. As far as this year goes, like they have a top 10 pick again, so they got to make sure they hit on that. And they got to make sure they hit on their picks. And I mean, I think they got a little bit of money in free agency. I'm not sure exactly how much, but like they're not over the cap right now. They got some money, so they got to hit free agency the right way, and I'm hit the draft the right way. And I mean, maybe they can. Not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl team, but I mean, if they do draft well, they make the right moves in free agency. Maybe they might be a playoff contender again.
Hey man, we got Fletch in the comments volunteering for us to rebuild his team.
Man, I mean, Flex be hating his team, man.
Hey, tell Fletch the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna extend your head coach. That's what the first move we're gonna do. How you
5-year
feel about that?
extension.
Huh?
Actually,
Todd
lifetime
Bowles,
extension.
lifetime contract. We're gonna give him that Tom Landry deal. Okay?
Y'all trying to get us fired. The Commanders have 72 million in cap space.
They'll
Just
mess it up
about
again.
72 million.
They'll mess it up again.
Okay.
They'll mess it up again. Didn't he have more? He had more the season before. He had 100 or something and messed that up.
Yeah, they got like 6-7 picks too. Like I said, I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think if they make the right moves, they could be one of them teams that have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm not proclaiming they're gonna make the playoffs, but I think they'll be a lot better than 5 or 6 wins if they make the right moves.
Yeah, I don't trust the Commanders. I'm sorry. Yeah, to me, Adam Peters, he hasn't successfully won an offseason. He came up pretty well on getting Jaden Daniels, yes. But in that season, like they were still trying to fix a lot of things. They made it to the NFC Championship, but I felt like this offseason he could have capitalized so much more. Instead, you extended a couple of old guys and brought them back on contracts. When I thought you could have took some of that money, man, and invested into some young talent, kind of got the team healthier. Because this year you dealt with a lot of injuries, but most of those injuries were to your older players except for Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels, due to that O-line being subpar, was getting crushed. Like you didn't address the needs last season. You just didn't do what you needed to do for this team to be in a position this year to be going into a draft with 6 draft picks. Like you need a surplus when you're trying to capitalize on a season like that. You don't go in with minimum. Last year they went in with 5. This year they're going in with 6. Like you shouldn't be down like that. Why are you trading away so many assets that aren't working? Like, yeah, JMIK, I agree. I would prefer to cut bait early than to try to drag it out. But why are you even investing in a guy who hadn't played over like a number of games in the past 2 or 3 seasons? You already knew it was a 50-50 chance that it wasn't going to work. And it was more likely not going to work than work. So like you put yourself in a bad spot from the jump by even trading the assets you did. So yes, the Saints fleeced you because you were incompetent.
Yeah, that's why I said I would be concerned if I was a Commanders fan. But I don't know. Maybe that's also a little bit of my Giants bias coming out. I try to, I try to suppress it, but might unknowingly be showing a little. But since they just released Lattimore, they're probably going to be looking to draft a corner pretty early in the draft. What do you think?
At least some type of defensive piece. If your team don't take that guy, Caleb Downs at 5, I mean, I could see them going there.
I mean, bro, they
Yeah,
got holes everywhere, dog. So
Yeah,
they could go O line, they could go running back, they could go wide receiver, they could go safety. I mean, they got holes everywhere.
but my only thing is I don't think they'll go tackle because they have Tunsil and they have the kid they drafted out of Oregon last year. So I think the tackle position is pretty secure. I don't think you're going to draft a guard at 7, and that's kind of high. I mean, if you're going to draft a guard, you can wait to the 2nd round. And then they also drafted Trey Amos last year, if I'm not mistaken, at corner,
Yeah.
and he played pretty
Mm-hmm.
well for them. So
Yeah,
so they got one corner. Mike, Mike Sandstro to me is more of a slot guy. To me, I don't like. I think he could play boundary every so often, but I wouldn't want him out there the majority of the time. So I mean, they kind of are needing a CB2, whether they get that in free agency because they got the money or they wait till the draft. Um, at 7, I think I got to wait to see how the board falls, man. Like if Caleb Downs falls you at 7, I think you take him there. If Ruben Bain was to fall to you, like they also need an edge, I would take him there. It's hard to say what you're going to do at 7 because it really depends on who slides to you at 7. Like if there's a guy that you would have thought would have been a top 5 pick and slides to you, then I think they're in a good position of just taking BPA.
yeah.
Well, look, if we got any Commanders fans listening, comment who you want your team to target at 7. I know we did a mock draft on Saturday. If you missed it, it's still on the channel.
Well,
You can
it's,
go back and watch it.
well, it's
But I think
definitely a split. Talking to them, it's a split.
it's a split,
It's
yeah.
the
Yeah,
Jeremiah Love half that believe like bringing in a running back to help Jaden Daniels with bolstering the run game and doing those things could definitely help the team. And then you have the other guys that saying, what I mean, best defensive player available, because the defense needs more help than the offense. But that's like to me kind of like where I'm at with the team though. Cause I'm not even split. I think all of those are true at one time. I think you need to bolster the run game, the offensive line, and you need some receivers. But I think also on the other side of the line, you need a lot of help too. That's why I kept saying last year before they played the season, after the NFC Championship, after all that, I said I didn't think they were in a great position to capitalize on the potential of that roster because of the age and the amount of capital you had. You only had 5 draft picks last year. 5. And now you're
yeah.
going into a draft this year with 6.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they're saying, man. It's like it's draft season. So everybody wants the Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants the scat pack. They want the popular player, the fresh new name. But drafting a running back at 7 with this roster, I mean, I don't think you have the luxury of doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's already 7, so he's going to be on the higher end on the rookie pay scale off rip. So let's say he get offensive player of the year. Let's say he get a few Pro Bowls. His 5th-year option is going to be crazy, and you're nowhere near being the contender right now. Why would you get a running back? Like I just feel like the running backs is for somebody like in the top 10, like we're close to the top 10, the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs, they got a good enough offensive line. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Um, they could use a running back. I don't think that the Commanders has the luxury of drafting the running back. But I could be wrong. I'm usually not wrong about them, but this might be my first time.
Nah, I'm gonna be
Well,
honest. With how poor that pass rush was, I'm gonna be honest. That entire defense was just pure mid. I just don't see. I'm all about building teams inside out. You address the trenches on both sides of the ball, and if you have like a premier talent right there at 7 for the D line, why not take it? Because guess what? You may not get that type of caliber player in round 2 or 3. So why not just take the best right there to fix the issues you guys were having with pass rush and run defense?
well, I mean, one guy that definitely could help them against the run, and I would hate to see him end up going there,
Oh, you
is Sonny
nasty.
Styles. Sonny Styles, what he did at the combine was so impressive. Like, he might have been the most impressive player out there, honestly. What do you guys think of his performance? Or who do you think had the best performance overall at the combine?
Best performance at the combine was Kenyon Sadiq, bro. Like, but before we dive into that, I will say what Sonny Styles was able to do, bro. Like, I think he definitely. I mean, he was already solidified in those top players. I think he might have, put a little bit of people on notice. A couple of teams that maybe have been on the fence about whether or not they want to bring him in, what he was able to do. I think he did answer some of those questions. He had a great performance, but Kenyon Sadiq, bro, once he ran that 4.3, bro, hey, hey, I ain't gonna lie, that was like the first time I ever watched the 40 and was like, what? This big dude running this? But yeah, that's just where we at with it. So
I'll say out of the defensive players, Sonny Styles definitely. What, bro? Listen, I'm gonna just say this: a guy with his measurables should not be doing what he was able to do. Like, and don't get me wrong, I watched Ohio State games. I knew he was a dog, but still did not expect that type of performance from him. Like that to me, I think he kind of boosted. He went from a top 10, maybe French top 15 to he probably in the top 5 now with that.
So just to give some context to his performance at the combine, he is literally the highest graded prospect at the linebacker position based off of RAS score ever. There has never been a better athlete at the combine at the linebacker position than Sonny Styles. Think about that for a second. Just based off of the testing numbers. We witnessed history.
I mean, day
That
2 was the fastest day in NFL history. I mean, we witnessed history in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was a historic combine. You think this could end up being a historic draft class?
I don't know about that. We'll see.
They have the potential. I'll say that. They started off well. The combine was definitely a start.
No,
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
know.
lie. I think a lot of this shit is being carried by other athletes at the combine. I don't think this is potentially a historic draft class. Um, I just don't see it because I think a lot of position groups are just too shallow for me, just in regards to talent and depth.
We'll see. I didn't watch much of the combine. I don't really, you know, y'all know how I feel about the combine. It's glorified practices as far as I'm concerned. I get it. Guys from smaller schools, smaller programs, smaller conferences, they can get their name out there. Hopefully, they can crack a special team or, be a undrafted free agent. But if you're a projected first, second, third pick, I just don't see how this helps you. You know, your game field is going to tell me everything that I need to know. More so than and I get it. Like I've heard experts talk about, they want to see people change the direction and see what their hips look like. Do they have fluid hips and yada yada yada. I mean, that's cool. That's cool because I still stand on what I'm saying because the people that's out there running the combine, they're telling these guys when they want them to break left and right and drop down or drop back. You're not going to get a heads up in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So your game film is going to tell me more so than you following directions in t-shirt and tank top. But that's just me.
I think to an extent, yes, I agree with you, sir. I don't think like the 40-yard dash is necessarily. I think that it's certain metrics you can take from this that can tell you certain things about a player. I don't think it can tell you how they're gonna tackle or how they're gonna play in coverage, things of that nature, right? Per se, I do think you get certain things, right? You know what I mean? Obviously, you hear about it every year. There's a guy he doesn't have fluent hips. You see that when he's running the three cones, and you know what I mean. You can see certain things in players. You know what I mean. You can see a linebacker. Is he gonna be good going? Sideline to sideline, or is he strictly downhill? Like you can identify certain characteristics from the combine, but I think also you always have a couple in there that are combine darlings. Their focus after the season ends in college is to attack every drill you'll be competing in the combine, and to see how they can improve and do their best results for that day. So that's also a little, you know what I mean, downside to it because you can prepare yourself to perform at your best because I mean it's predetermined drills. You already know the drill. Um, okay, but who does anybody else have a riser from the combine? I mean, obviously, Sir said he didn't watch, but JMIK.
I get
Um, Positionally wise, I mean, what I'd say is at quarterback, the kid out of Arkansas really surprised me from a testing perspective because I mean the kid ran in the 4.3s for the 40. This broad jump was crazy. Like every metric you look at in a combine, he pretty much went crazy. I think his name was Jalen. I just forget his last name. He went kind of wild there.
Jalen Green.
Yeah, Jalen Green. He went crazy. I mean, like even his backfield mate, I think his last name was Washington. Like the I mean, running back from Arkansas, he ran crazy in the 40. I mean, he looked good in the drills as well, so he went crazy. To me, my biggest surprise was the Oregon safety, Dylan, and I'm not going to even attempt to say his last name. His last name started with a T. Um, I knew he was good. Like on film, he was pretty good. I didn't expect him to be as explosive as he was in some. I'm not even gonna speak on the 40, but some of the drills they had him doing. I mean, he looked really good. I mean, he positioned like at first I didn't think he's gonna be a first round pick, but I mean, what he did at the combine match with his film, I mean, I think it's very possible that he goes at the late end of the first round. Um, and then I mean, for me, the biggest surprise came on day 4 on Sunday actually, because I didn't really coming into this year like I didn't believe that the O-line class was that great. And then like what I saw out of those guys, obviously the 40 don't. I'm not looking at the 40 for them. It's more like a 10-yard split. But I mean, like what I saw, I mean, like out that class of the drills was really, really good. Like I'm not even gonna give you the names that everybody knows, like the kid out of Arizona State, Max, or Spencer Fanu, or Monroe Freeling, or those guys. Like I think those guys, or like Lomu, like those guys are what they are. But like some of the other guys, like the offensive line, the offensive tackle out of Boston College, Drew Bowery, like to me,
Mhm.
he had a really good day in the drills. I mean, he showed, his movement and his punch, on some of the drills that he has. So I was really, I mean, I was really encouraged by his performance. Um, and then what's the other kid's name? I was surprised by. J.C. Davis in the drills was actually pretty good too. I don't think he was good as Jude, but I mean he was pretty good. And then you got the guy that everybody loves, Jennings Dunker. I mean, I think Jennings Dunker did a good job as well. But overall, I mean, I get it. People like are enamored with the wide receivers and the linebackers and the edge rushers and and the testing performance. But I think day 4 of the combine with offensive linemen show you that there's good offensive lineman depth in this draft, and that's what you need. You're thinking, like you're pretty thankful because I think there's a number of guys that you could draft. Not saying they're going to be all pros or anything like that, but I think there's a lot of guys that can be solid if they get drafted in the 3rd, 4th, or even the 5th round, and like you might be able to slot them as like as a starter on your team. So
Yeah, no, I agree, JMIK. And honestly, for the past couple of years, day 4 has been my favorite, mostly because I've had issues with my offensive line, either looking at tackle position or interior O lineman at either left or right guard. And I've been looking at players like, yo, this is a player we could probably target in the 3rd, 4th round. And if we really want him, we might get him at the bottom of the 2nd or something like that. But yeah, this class to me is a lot deeper than I initially thought as well, JMIG. And I'm seeing just, I'm like, I'm looking at the prospects of my team being able to grab one of these interior linemen. I'm like, yo, they could still be there round 3 or 4 for us.
See, the guy, what's the guy name again from Oregon, the safety?
Cinnamon.
Yeah. See now, I'm glad JMIK brought him up. That's the type. That's the type of excitement that I'm talking about. He had a great draft. He ran these practice skills really, really good. But his film tells me that he's a hesitant downhill tackler. His film tells me that when it's him and David Montgomery in the gap, he's going to make a business decision. Okay, his film tells me in coverage, he misses a lot of tackles, but he had a good drive. I mean, he had a good combine, so that doesn't really matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I don't put too much stock into these organized drills and whatnot. Because his film tells me something completely different.
I think I think Cinnamon is okay. Like, well, not even okay. I think he's really good in coverage, but I do agree with you. I don't like the angles he takes. I think even when he does take the right angle, he has a tendency to kind of like arm tackle. He's getting ran through in the NFL if that's what he does. So like I don't like him in run support. I could see a team falling in love with his ability though, as maybe a deep one high safety. Like I could see him playing that role. You just got to make sure he's not a guy that you got to rely on a whole lot, or to help in run support. But he can have a really successful career. Just got to be able to disguise what he doesn't do well.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're looking for a slot type safety, then yeah, Thiedemann works. He's gonna do a good job. If he got to come down and be an enforcer, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. You're gonna have a lot of broken tackles and yards after contact because he definitely not laying the boomstick.
I mean, but to me, I said he had a good combine, but that don't change the order of the safeties. Like I still don't have him as the top two. Like that didn't he had a good performance, but if I have a chance to draft a Toledo safety over him, I'm drafting the Toledo safety. Like that doesn't to me, Dylan came in as the third best, probably the third or fourth best safety prospect. I don't think that changed, but I think one team might jump at him in the first round instead of waiting into the second. Like I think that's all I was saying. Like he pretty much just improved his draft stock. Right now, what kind of player I think he's gonna be, I don't really think that changed too much for me.
I also think Arvell Reese had a pretty good combine, man. Like he ran a 4.46 at 45 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, I think with what he does well. I mean, running at that speed, being able to perform well in the 3-cone drill, had a really good broad jump. Like I think he might have improved some of his draft style. Him and obviously you already said the Sonny Styles, but I think him and his running mate improved they draft style. If not improved, maybe they couldn't move from where they were at. They solidified maybe their position in that top 10.
But I also think like Jacob Rodriguez, a lot of people are hiring him because of his linebacker, the instincts that he has at that position. I don't think a lot of people anticipated how well that he actually tested. Because I mean, like even at the 40, people didn't expect him to be that fast. Like the 3-cone for linebackers, I think he had the best 3-cone, I believe. And so like what, the way he just athletically tested, I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to do that. And I think the issue was a lot of people thought he was going to be there for them in the third, maybe even some people. I never bought it, but some people say in the fourth round. I always thought he was a solid third round pick. But the problem is like athletically now he's shown you he's better than what everybody thought he was athletically. So it's possible he could go in the second round now. He could go earlier than he was anticipating on going. And that might make teams shuffle around and try to be able to get him in the second round where they didn't think he'd be there before.
A fun fact for you guys. Well, I'll give you a little trivia question. Do you know what position Jacob Rodriguez played before he was a linebacker?
Was he like a fullback or something? Like a running back or fullback or something?
Quarterback.
Oh, quarterback. Okay.
He was actually recruited and came into college as a quarterback.
I mean, that's even better though.
Yeah.
Because he's playing linebacker with a quarterback brain, bro. That's a dangerous thing, man.
Well, I mean, he's a quarterback of the defense in the literal sense at that point. So
but to play that position and have the quarterback instincts and playing on the other side, especially in the middle of the defense at middle linebacker, like that's that's something that you want.
Yeah, and he forced I want to say it was a turnover a game this past season in college.
Yeah, I mean he's got a
turnover machine. He has a nose for the ball.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like having a nose for the ball is just something that you can't teach. I mean, just certain players are always around the ball, and that's who Jacob Rodriguez was, and that goes to the athletic testing. Like, people didn't, like I said, people didn't think he was as quick and agile as he is. And like you said, Dre, he got a nose for the ball. He's always around the ball, and I mean, being a linebacker, that's a very important skill to have.
Yeah.
There was 22 players at the combine that ran sub 4.4.
Yeah, it was a fast combine for sure.
Do y'all think anybody else improved their stock?
One more guy I'll give you. Deion Burke out of Oklahoma. I've loved him. Well, that sounds crazy, but I've liked him as a player I've liked him as a player
They're living your
for a
truth.
few years now. When he first got to the University of Oklahoma, I thought he was the best slot receiver in the nation, and injuries and things kind of derailed him. But his performance at the combine, with the potential he had pre-injury and some of the flashes he saw from him last season, I think teams' eyes kind of open on him, maybe, and they'll take a little closer look or maybe take him a little more serious now. So Deion Burke is one more for me. That's it.
For me, I think it was um Prince. I mean, not Prince Price, the running back that was behind Love. I think he was a guy that potentially would have gone in the sixth, seventh round, potentially undrafted. But I watched Notre Dame games, and I watched times when he got the ball and how explosive he was with the limited amount of touches he did get and his production. And I think for him to test well as he did at the combine, I think he thinks, I'm not saying he elevated himself to like a second round pick. I'm saying I think he could be in the fourth or fifth round now, which I think is a lot higher than I initially anticipated him going.
I had a couple more names. The tight end position is a lot deeper than people thought it was. Like going into this thing, man, people was talking like it's a 2 or 3 tight end draft, but I mean, when you look at it, like I seen at least about 5 or 6 guys that I really liked, and I'm not talking about Kenyon Sadiq. Obviously, he going to be a first round pick with the combine that he had and versus with the tape that he has. So I didn't really question that. But there's some other guys that kind of made you say, like guys like like Eli Stowers, Jolly, the tight end out of Utah, Bentley. Like a couple of these guys are quality options maybe later in the draft. And then like the last guy I would say is like I'm not a big Tennessee guy. Obviously, I mean, like I'm a Georgia fan. I don't really like Tennessee like that. But I gotta admit, like Brazel, the performance that he had, like all the marks that I seen him were going in like the early second round. People did not expect him to run as fast as he did. So now people are talking about there's a chance that he could go late in the first round. So you got to look at that, like I mean, he's gonna have his pro day and things like that. And I mean, Brazel might be a surprise first round pick for me, some team that's drafted late in the first round.
Oh wait,
What
but
about
his
Buddy from
4.3 speed,
Wyoming?
Say what?
What about
his
Buddy
four.
from Wyoming?
The wide receiver.
No, the tight end.
Oh, the tight end. I'm trying to think of his name.
We got 2 last names. I know it's. I don't even remember.
I got the list pulled up here.
John Michael Gillenberg. I think it's Gillenberg. Borg.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people hollering him too in like the third roundish.
I mean, he had a good combine, catching the football, doing the drills and stuff like that. Like tight ends for me, like the 40 I ain't really that worried. I mean, tight ends got 2 jobs. I mean, they got a job to go out and catch passes, and then they also have to be able to block. And so I think he's pretty good at that. I mean, his stock, like I said, a lot of tight end stock rise. I mean, his rose a little bit as well. And like I said, going into the draft, like I thought it was being like a 3 or 4 tight end draft, but it's a I mean some names that I hadn't watched tape on that I might have to go back now and actually watch them and see how good their tape actually is.
Yeah, it was definitely a well-rounded draft. I mean, a draft combine opportunity to see a lot of good prospects. Obviously, here soon you're gonna start seeing people producing in the pro day.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna get a chance to see some of these other guys that we didn't get an opportunity to see at the combine too. So now that's the one. I do not care what you do at your pro day. It does not affect me. You orchestrated this. You brought in the people to do it. Yeah, everything is built for you to be successful at the pro day.
The one thing I would say about the pro day is though, if you perform bad, then that tells me something. Because you, like you just said, you orchestrated this whole thing. And if you show up and you don't perform well, that'll tell me something. But now if you perform great, I mean, like it's kind of like performing to a script. Like you set up the script, you read over the script, you studied the script, and you just perform the script. So I don't. But pro days to me, I'm kind of with Smitty. Like I can't do much with your pro day, but if you do bad, like I said, if you do bad at your pro day, I'm looking at you sideways.
Oh yeah, you can't do bad. You can't fail. It's not an opportunity to fail.
Well,
You should
pro
be
day
as
kind of
successful as
puts
anybody
you.
else.
It puts you in your more of your own element. Like that's something that they're used to. Because that pro day element, it just feels like they're at one of those camps that they were at back in the day. At these colleges where they did the same exact drills and they were working out for the coaches. Like I think they're probably more comfortable also just doing it where they've been practicing and playing for a few years instead of coming to a different environment and having to perform. So I agree with you.
Anything else y'all got for the people before we get out of here?
Oh, some news just dropped. It says Khalil Mack is not going to retire. He's going to explore. He's going to explore all options and will be a big time target in free agency in about a week. And that comes from Ian Rappaport 43 seconds ago.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Maybe he can go be a little man.
Nah, I think he's going to Buffalo, man.
Commander.
Nah, I think he's going to Buffalo, man. He went to school up there, UB. You know that area pretty well, man. I hate to say it.
I mean, we'll see.
Maybe.
I mean, he'll reunite with his buddy, huh?
Man, I mean, I'm not trying to have him going against Will Campbell twice a year, man. I saw what that looked like in the playoffs, man. I do not want to see that. I'm sorry. that was not good for I mean, we won the game, but viewing pleasure wasn't. There wasn't much pleasure in that for me, man. Pause.
I wouldn't mind watching that twice a year. I think it'd be pretty entertaining to watch.
Man, I hope the Commanders draft Downs there because I would love for you to have to watch him twice a year, knowing that's what you could have had.
Oh man, don't do me like that. Come on.
He'll be so hurt.
You just did me like
he'll
that.
He'll be
man.
so hurt. Jesus Christ, he'll be so hurt.
Man.
He'll be, but that'll be the quietest you hear Dre in a long time, boy.
No, I ain't gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be I'll be upset a little bit, but we keep it pushing. We move on. He wasn't that good anyway.
You gonna be more than
He wasn't that good anyway. Is nasty.
If we didn't draft him, he wasn't that good anyway.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. No, it would definitely be. I mean, I would definitely be upset if he were on the board and we were to pass up on him. But that's another story for another day.
But hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us for another live. We'll be back soon. We'll be dropping Tuesday. Obviously, Dre told y'all about the Dynasty Rebuilds. The link is on the page for the playlist for you to watch all the Dynasty Rebuilds we've done so far, and all the ones to come soon. So hit the like, ding the bell. Hey, Pop, take us to the crib.
But always remember to follow the YouTube page, follow the CheckDown Twitter page, join the CheckDown Twitter community. Always remember to tell a friend, and we'll tap in with y'all later.
This is the CheckDown. No fluff. No filters. Just football.